Now that we're familiar with the ArcGIS Online organizational account navigation and some of the tools, let's go ahead and add some data so we can start doing some mapping. Most times our data may come to us in Excel spreadsheet form. So here we have an Excel spreadsheet called markets.xls, and the first thing we want to do is look at the column headers. We want to find column headers that are going to make sense once we start mapping within the AGO projects. So I have a list of markets here, and item 1 is the current header. I'm going to change it to market name. And I'm going to try to stay under 8 characters with my column header names, and I don't want to have any special characters like pound, asterisk, or I don't want to have any spaces in the name, so I want to keep it all as one word. The next one here is location. Location's okay, but these are actually street addresses, so I'm going to call that street. And this will be important when ArcGIS Online tries to geocode those locations. Geocoding is the way that the GIS looks at your spreadsheet information for locational data. It may be a street address, it might be a latitude, longitude, or some way that it can relate this information to a place on the earth. The next field we have is city, and that certainly makes sense. It's under 8 characters and there's no spaces, but I think we need to add something here. Let's insert a column and call it state. I happen to know that all of these locations are in the state of California, so I can populate my new item quickly with the abbreviation for the state. Okay, now we have that. Let's look at this. You may notice that we want to change it because it has spaces in the name. So we're just going to shorten this to zip because we know it's the zip code. Okay, that looks great. Now, when we save our changes, we're going to save them as a CSV file. So what I'm going to do is go to my computer, and I'm going to go to my GIS folder, and I'm going to save this spreadsheet as a CSV. And here it is on my list of format choices. So it's now called Markets CSV. I'm going to hit save. Excel gives us a little warning to make sure we want to make that format change. We can say yes, and then when we're ready to dismiss that spreadsheet, we can close it and say don't save because we've already saved it as a CSV. Okay, so now we're in the organizational account, and the first thing we're going to do is make sure we're in the My Content area by clicking on My Content, and then I want to put this particular item in a folder. So I'm going to go to my training folder, and that's where all the work I'm about to do is going to be saved. So the first thing I want to do is add an item. And up here you can see there's a little chevron next to the Add Item header, and I want to add it because it's on my computer. So I'm going to add this item from my computer. I'm going to browse to it. It's in my Windows folder, in my GIS folder, and there it is. There's the CSV. In case your computer is only filtering by Excel spreadsheets, you may need to come down here and pick all files, and then your CSV file will show up. Okay, so we're going to open it. We're going to give the AGO account a moment to connect to it. So here's a chance to add some of the tags we talked about when we were looking at the item information. So I'm going to write test and training and markets for tags. Okay, tags are a way that you can identify information if you want to share it once it's gone through quality assurance and you're sure that it's correct to be shared publicly. If you are looking for information about a particular topic, say butterflies, and you're doing a map about butterfly migration, you could go out into the ArcGIS Online gallery and search for butterflies, and anyone who may have tagged data or maps or applications with butterflies, a listing would show up if their data is shared publicly, and then you could access that data or review it. So we're going to publish this file as a hosted layer, and it asks us what we want to use to create those points, and we're going to say address. It's defaulted to address because it recognizes some of the names in the attribution. Okay, so if we move on down here a bit, we can see that it's trying to make a match. Field name city is for the locational field city, right? So it's matching what we put in our headers, zip it recognizes as a zip code. So it's made those matches, and we can go ahead and click Add Item. Now this will take a moment because it's coming from your computer into the ESRI cloud, and then it's geocoding each of the records in our spreadsheet. So basically you'll get a point on the map for each of your entries in the spreadsheet. So this is the information item sheet for this new markets layer. It looks very similar to the ones that we talked about in a previous video. It's creating that service. It's putting all the information it needs in the property fields, and it's going to identify it with our organization and with you as the creator. Okay, so now we have a window that's come up, and it says, do we want to review the addresses? Well, fortunately, 25 of the 25 records were matched, which means it found an address and it was able to create a point. So do we want to review the matched addresses? No, because they've all matched and we don't have to concern ourselves with ones that it couldn't find. Okay, so now we have a feature published that we can map and work with. What you may notice as you scroll on down here is some information about the extent of the layer. It has the tags that we put in, and currently this item is not shared. So what we may want to do is go here to sharing, and we can share it with our university group, because everyone in the university may want to use this for training and for mapping. So I've shared it with the whole university group, and I can say OK. Now when we look at the property shared with, it's shared with our organization. Okay, and in the next video we're going to start doing a bit of actual mapping with this markets data.